Good morning and welcome to special edition on Sikhism, the Sunday special. History of the world is replete with atrocities, oppression, injustice, cruelty. As a matter of fact, if we look at the history of the world, we'll find that the bloodshed has been more pervasive and spread over a longer period than peace and the calm. And the Sikh history especially is replete with outstanding examples of bravery and at the same time for sacrifices. And December is a month in the Sikh history which is poignant, painful, and yet makes the Sikh understand the value of humanity, of compassion, and of sacrifice. And this month is etched in the memory of the Sikhs. It was the month of December, and Guru Tegh Bahadur, who was later on killed by Aurangzeb, was honored by Aurangzeb with the title of Tegh Bahadur. He had fought and led the armies against the kings in Assam with the forces of Aurangzeb, and Aurangzeb was very happy. Twist of the history that later on the same person was executed in a cruel, bloodthirsty manner. But the poignancy started way back in the time of Guru Tegh Bahadur. But the real acme reached in December when the 10th Guru was fighting the Mughal forces and the Hindu forces combined. And again it's a very, very puzzling and enigmatic situation that Sikhism, which started to protect Hinduism, and if you look at Bachatra Natak written by Gobind Singh, he very clearly writes that he prayed at Hemkund and God appeared to him and told him in the previous verse to go, take birth, be incarnated as Gobind Rai, later on to become Gobind Singh. And the purpose was to protect Hinduism, the Sanatana Dharma. So this religion, which was created to protect Hinduism, the person who was doing it was being attacked by the Hindu forces, Hindu kings, along with the Muslim forces. It was on December 29th that Battle of Mugasa, or Khedrai the Dhab, the battle took place. But then before that also, where battles had taken place. If you remember, Battle of Lehra Gagga took place in this time. Guru Tegh Bahadur was released from Aurangzeb detention this time, then rearrested and executed. And this, in the history of Sikh, something amazing that this was the day in 1987 that Israel condemned atrocities against Sikhs in the United Nations. But I'll today talk about two major things. One, the deaths of the four sons of Guru Gobind Singh. Two of the sons, 14-year-old and 17-year-old, the teenagers, had to fight. And they were killed in Anandpur Sahib in the Battle of Chamkaur. Bravely fighting, and then they had sought the permission of the Guru and go and fight, and Guru had blessed them. They died heroes' deaths. But the most painful episode in the human history, it brought on the so-called justice-loving Muslim leaders at that time, was the death of the two younger sons of Gobind Singh. And do you know their ages? One was 7-year-old, the other was 9-year-old. And their crime, the main crime was that they were sons of Gobind Singh, as one courtier told Wazir Khan that the sons of snake would be snake, so they must be crushed. Innocent, 7-year-old, 9-year-old, but dedicated and authentic. That's the most important thing. And they were then offered all the treasures of the world, which they rejected. Purpose? Why the treasures were offered? So that they forsake their religion and become Muslim. They first refused to do that. Then they were threatened. They refused to do that. So neither greed of lucre, nor of the beautiful girls, nor the hopes of heaven and the houris therein, nor the regal life in the present could deter them from their determination. And they said no. And then came the bombshell. They were ordered to be buried alive, bricked alive in the walls. They were asked to stand up, and slowly and steadily the walls started building around them. And they suffocated in these concrete walls. If you look at the history of the world, you would hardly find a single more example of such an act of cruelty, wanton, unwarranted, unacceptable, and especially looking at the age. No jurisprudence, no legal system, no amount of whitewashing can wipe up this blot than what happened over there. And then, not only were they buried alive, their bodies were supposed to be desecrated. And then once he said, look, let's at least cremate them. And he had to buy land, and the land was sold at the rate that the land he needed for cremation was to be covered with the gold coins. That expensive. The guy sold everything of his so that he had sufficient wealth, became a destitute guy, but cremated. When the news reached the grandmom, she also died of heart attack. So, in this month, Gobind Singh lost his 4 sons and his mother. Did it in any way impact him? No. He said, if 4 have died for the country, for the nation, what difference does it make? There are thousands more alive. My sons are not only these 4, all these 6 are my sons. This is the way he consoled his wife. And then he was a victim of treachery. The Mughal forces and the hill kings, the Hindu kings, who were supporting Mughals in a very paradoxical manner, had taken oaths on Quran and on Gita that they will come to an agreement and let Gobind Singh leave Chamkaur. If he leaves Chamkaur, they'll let him go unmolested. At the moment he did so, all the treasures were plundered. His 46 also said, okay, we can't fight with you. But when they reached Mughasar, they were reviled by a woman called Mai Bhagwan, one of the great Sikh heroines, shamed for their act of treachery and cowardice. And then the battle took place where everybody died. And Guru was happy with them. The point here is that this month is a month of painful memories of the Sikhs. But what amazes everybody is that These painful memories did not in any way deject the Sikhs. They, as a matter of fact, got courage from these memories that if the young 7-year-old and 9-year-old could die for the principles. Now come the major issue. Is politics the science of treachery? Because the Hindu kings joining hands with the Mughals was a clear act of treachery. And especially when they had been saved by Gobind Singh in the earlier wars. Is the killing of 7 and 9-year-old, not killing basically, burying alive, sanctioned by any religion? Would those courtiers who supported the governor in this dastardly action ever be able to say that what they did was right? But there was one man who said, no, this is not proper. He was the Nawab of Malerkotla. And then Gobind Singh blessed him and he said, your house is my refuge. Tera ghar mera asset. So much so that when the partition took place, Muslims were being killed in this side of India, while Sikhs and Hindus were being killed in Pakistan. Not a single communal incident took place in Malerkotla, and Sikhs ensured that no Muslim dies. That was the result of one action, that at least 80,000 Muslims living in Malerkotla at that time, not a single person died, not a single house was looted, not a single woman was dishonored. Just for his action of criticizing the decision to bury alive the young sons of Gobind Singh. Now what's the value, what's the reason, or do we learn? The Sikhs learned from that. The Sikhs learned three things, and that became a part of their credo. First was, no sacrifice is mean enough or sufficient enough. And principles, values of life, authenticity are much more important than that. When Gobind Singh said, जो लड़े दीन के हेत सूरा सोई सूरा सो पहचाने जो लड़े दीन के हेत. A person who dies for principles is the real warrior. Deen doesn't mean religion, it's the principles. Though the Muslims say deen only for their religion, Gobind Singh used purposely. Secondly, the ungrateful people, howsoever kind you may be, would still be ungrateful and turn against you and recoil against you like the hill kings did. But that does not mean that you strike them back. You strike them in the void, but by no underhand means, and that's what Gobind Singh's philosophy was. He would openly challenge the people. Here I'll tell you one very interesting thing which people are not aware. His arrows were tipped with nuggets of gold. And somebody asked him, well, why do you use gold in the tips of your arrows? And he said, look here, the person might be very poor who is dying. He cannot afford his cremation. So the gold is being sent, okay, carry out the last rites. Whatever they are, whether it's a cremation or burial. The compassion, even death. So, most important, authenticity and sincerity to the principles. And the principles of humanity. Secularism. Freedom to worship the way you want. The freedom of religion, what we talk about today, was the uppermost in Gobind Singh and Sikhism, if you see. They don't believe in persuading or purchasing people to become Sikhs. No, Sikhism doesn't proselytize. And since it doesn't proselytize, it's against the very concept. So the purpose is that the people have a right to choose their religion, live according to that, live according to those concepts and ideas. So the Sikhism in this month was purified by the fire of sacrifice. The elder sons, 14 and 17, yes, they also sacrificed, and that's equally painful. But they were capable of a thought. A teenager can take a decision. A child of 7 cannot take a decision. A child of 9 is in no way competent enough to take a decision, and here they took the decision. So what does that show? Example is better than precept. They had seen their grandfather being killed to save the Kashmiri Pandits. They had seen their father fighting for the justice and freedom of the people and the right, human rights, right to religion, right to freedom of expression, right to live you want. All those concepts we talk about today, which were an anathema to those rules, were propagated Gobind Singh, and these two young brothers died for the sake of that. And that's why, 4 years back I started a campaign that the Children's Day should be this day, the death of the 4 princes. And that would be the real homage to them, because they are a blazing example. Not of bravery, that of course is given, but of being authentic, honest, sincere, passionate believers in freedom of mankind, human rights. So this month was a crucible when Sikh thought got further purified and also consolidated. But then this did not end here. The Ghalugharas, when Abdali came and wanted to eradicate Sikhs, took place from December to February, but started in December. Mir Manu ordered that anybody who brings the head of a Sikh would be given 80 rupees. And the Sikh said, Manu sadi datri, asi manu de soe. Jo sanu vadda asi dune chure. That Manu is a sickle and we are the grass. He cuts it, and the more he cuts, the more we grow. So this month basically is a month of sacrifice, month of standing up to your principles, month of standing for the human rights, religious freedom, freedom of speech, and for being a real human being. So this month is enshrined basically, and I'm amazed at how come the UNICEF did not declare this month to be Children's Month. India did not declare this day to be the Children's Day, which it should have been. But this is an outstanding example of resilience, of bravery, of standing up to your rights, and being honest to yourself, to thine be true. And that's what was proved in this month by the young martyrs. Thank you.